think we're live. Hey everybody. I just was trying to find a good spot to land. I was hoping that you could see the river behind me, but I'm here in Missouri right now, and the Mississippi River is just right back there. So, hey Joanne. Let's see, and my husband's in here moderating comments as coffee. So, if anybody has any questions at all about intermittent fasting or weight loss or walking 6 miles every day, anything, let me know. Just to give you a little background, my name is Kayla. I have lost 80 pounds so far using intermittent fasting and walking 6 miles every day. Hi, Catherine. Oh, it's gray and cloudy in England. But you're in England, and I just think that's so cool. I would love to visit there sometime. Hey, Tracy and Emily, M Valentine. I wonder if are you MK on the forums? Just wondering. You don't have to answer if that's not something you want to share. Hey, Vicky. Glad to see you're here. I bet it's hot in Florida. It is cooler up here. It was like 60 degrees this morning. Hi, Cynthia from Germany. Oh, man. I love that there are so many people from different countries watching. That's just the coolest thing. Hey, Carol. Oh, Joanne, you're up to 6 miles on the elliptical. My hat is off to you. That's fantastic. I remember the elliptical used to just kill me. I haven't been on an elliptical since I was over 200 pounds, but oh man, they're so hard. But easier on the knees, I think. Hey, John. Hey, Albert. Hey, Mel from Wisconsin. Hey, I'm closer to you than I normally have been in the past. Christina. Oh, you're from Utah. Yeah, and I remember you, Christina. You've commented before. And I'm glad you find it inspiring. It's noon in California. Oh, but smoky. Yeah, lots of wildfires out there right now, right? We're having to, we're trying to make our way up to Glacier National Park, and there's some fires up there, so stay safe over there, Susan. Vicky, yeah, no, it's so hot down there. Oh, okay. Oh, and you're from France. Okay, well, thank you for joining us, M. Valentine. Let's see. Tracy, you asked, have you ever read Eat, Stop, Eat? I have not read it. I have heard good things about it. And it was one of those things that kind of intrigued me because I believe at that point, I can't remember what year it came out, but if my memory serves me correctly, it was one of those things where I thought, don't eat for, I think, a day, right? Like it's like you eat like now I can't even remember the plan, but I remember it intrigued me because it was so different than any other kind of diet plan I'd ever heard of. Like, I've been on a diet my entire life, it feels like, but I had never really thought of the concept of just not eating for a period of time. And so then that was kind of one of those things where I thought, that sounds like something I could do. So it intrigued me, and I think that's probably why I even looked into intermittent fasting in the beginning. I believe my brother-in-law, Roger Cox, was the first one to ever tell me about Eat, Stop, Eat. But I could be wrong on that. Oh, Mary, you're from South Wales in the United Kingdom. Oh, well, hello, Mary. Let's see. Tracy, you said in Eat, Stop, Eat, he recommends 2 24-hour fasts a week and not daily. Okay, yeah, so, and that would certainly be easier, right? I mean, because it's basically a 24-hour fast that I'm doing every day, but then I take Sunday completely off. I wonder in Eat, Stop, Eat, if you can answer this, do they tell you to count calories? I can't remember if that's a thing or not in that one. Oh yeah, Mel, you're talking about how freeing it is to say you can eat whatever I want between these hours. You have to refine your diet more soon, but you feel good. Well, good. I'm glad, Mel. That was very freeing to me too. Just the idea I can eat anything I want right now. I mean, and in the beginning, like I've talked about before, it was kind of one of those things where I was like, oh, I can eat anything. So, there were all those foods that I normally wouldn't allow myself, that I would allow myself. But then my eating did get better just because it was like, you're really starting to focus on, how does this taste? How do I feel after I eat this, And yeah, it's very freeing. So I'm glad you've had that experience too. Hey, Linda. I'm so glad you made it from Greece. I'm going to visit one day. Maybe not you, but I will visit Greece one day. I really want to. Hey, Birdie. Tracy, okay, so no calorie counting. So eat, stop, eat. I'm wondering, Tracy, have you ever done it, and what were your results? Because I know that's a question people have a lot. Okay, so Tracy, you said 2 24-hour fasts, so that's like 2 days of OMAD, and then just the rest of the time. So for 5 days out of the week, you're just eating whatever you want, no counting calories required. That's interesting. Never tried that. Uh, are those cicadas? Let me listen. Yes, I believe they are cicadas. Keohim. Man, they're not nearly as loud as the ones we heard in Illinois. Oh my goodness, you could be driving down the roads there at night, and it's just, you can hear it through the windows. It was crazy loud, and I've lived in Florida, and it was way louder than Florida. Okay, Mel, just cannot count calories and points with 5 kids and homeschooling in life at this time. It makes it simple. Yes. And hey, yay for homeschooling. I'm a homeschooler also. I've got 3, not 5. So wow, you got your hands full. And yeah, that was another thing too with me, is like, I can't focus on all the things, right? Like, I've got to simplify, and that's why I went so simple like I did, and it worked. But it was very freeing to be like, okay, I've got this. I know what I'm doing, because that was another thing too. In 2015, half the time I didn't even really know what plan I was doing. You know, it was kind of like, what, I'm counting calories, but I'm also trying to work out, CrossFit 3 times a week, and then, it helped me to simplify. So I'm glad that it's simple for you too. Okay, let's see. Tracy, you're eating OMAD currently, and it's just easy. I think you'll stick to this plan. Yeah, yeah. I like this plan too. Like, it's so easy. It's become second nature to me, and it's just, I remember in the beginning it didn't feel like second nature. It was easy, but it was kind of like I didn't feel like normal. Like this is like, I can do this while I'm losing weight, but don't I want to get back to like normal life with 3 meals a day? And now it's like, no, I like this. I like this better. So, let's see. Yes, love the OMAD diet. Ate lunch at 12 p.m. So Joanne, do you just eat lunch every day? Is that right? At noon? Because I've never done that. Like, my meal has always been supper time, but I've often wondered, what would it be like to do it at a different time of day? Let's see, Birdie, you're doing 1 meal a day on weekdays. When my meal times comes, you're very hungry. Yeah, so Birdie, do you feel like that's always the case? Like, how long have you been doing it, I wonder? And I think a lot of people tend to find, by my 1 meal, I am hungry. Like, I'm ready to eat. And it depends on time of month and everything. Sometimes that's a little bit more intense, but I would be curious to know how long you've been doing it, and if you've noticed it getting any easier or not, or if you're just saying, like, by the time your meal comes, you're hungry. So let's see. Hi, Henrietta. Okay, clotted cream from Devon, England, which is where clotted cream comes from. Well, that's very interesting. Now, clotted cream, you're going to have to help me with that one, because is that like a really thick cream? I know. It's okay. English, things from England and then things from America. Our dairy is just so confusing. Like, trying to explain to people from Great Britain what is half and half. Like, over here, half and half is a thing, but over there, not a thing so much. So, if you could explain to me, Henrietta, what exactly is clotted cream? Okay, Vicky, you're 5 pounds from your goal, but thought of eating whatever I want in my eating window still scares me, but I love how you teach to experiment. Love your attitude. Well, thank you, Vicky. Yeah, it is so freeing to just say it's an experiment. Like, in life, with anything, if you just say, I'm just going to experiment here, it kind of takes the pressure off, and you can just kind of step outside of it. Like, instead of saying, like, it's all my fault if I fail, just like, that experiment failed. You're just the subject, the test subject. I really do try to do that. Like, when I weigh myself in the morning, I try to just think of myself as like the scientist who's just noting, what is the weight today? Trying to take all the emotion out of it as best I can. But that has been freeing to me to do that. And congratulations on being 5 pounds from your goal. That's awesome. Michelle, I went to graze all day. How did you get past that, or did you not have that issue? Michelle, yes, I had that issue. I was the type of person, I think I'm part hobbit. I would just, want to eat all day long, like breakfast, then second breakfast, then 11Z's, it was the whole thing. And it would, like anytime my kids left something on their plate, it was just, I don't like to waste food. So I would, eat that stuff. So yeah, I was a grazer, and we worked from home. That's another thing. We homeschool, we work from home. My husband works from home. So we're all at home all the time, and there's plenty of opportunities for snacking. So how did I get over that? Well, that was the good thing about intermittent fasting to me, was there was a clear line, a clear boundary that said no eating during this time. And that really helped me. Because before I could always justify in my head, oh, it's just a bite. Oh, I don't want food to go to waste. Oh, I'm a little hungry. I'm a little, need a little snack. And so then if I had that boundary, it was a clear violation if I ate anything, So it kept me from grazing. And then that really helped me to start to see those things like, oh, you're eating because you're stressed, or, you're eating because you're bored. And I started to realize all these things, like I'm not really hungry during those times. And so it helped me to put those boundaries up. So that's how it helped me. It took a while for it to start. It took me a while to realize true hunger. What does it look and feel like versus what are these other things other reasons I'm eating. Okay. Also, Dr. Fung, Tracy, you say, Dr. Fung says that people who eat all night will lose weight slower than those who eat earlier, but because that's when I eat more. I think you mean responsibly. It says irresponsibly. Let's see. I think that's what you're saying. Like I eat more. Let's see. You love your dinner. I think what you're saying is you prefer to eat dinner because you can be more responsible at that time. And yeah, I mean, and that's certainly, I mean, I don't know what the research says, and certainly he's probably studied a whole lot more than I have. I tended to keep my windows open like later, like when I had an eating window. Now I just do OMAD, so it's always just supper time, probably around 6:30. But in the past, what I would do is, I would push my window later in the evening, because I found it easier to stick with fasting the next morning. Like, so in other words, I found my willpower was best in the morning and the worst late at night. So I just tried to work with my strengths there. Like, okay, well, you just can stay fuller longer. Did I say that right? I think so in other words, it was easier for me to, go off plan if my window would have been closed, but since it was still open at 8 p.m. sometimes, then that was helpful. So, but I was always willing to sacrifice speed as long as it made it easier. So in other words, like I just wanted it to work. I didn't really care how fast it worked. I just wanted it to work and feel really easy. Okay. Yes, you did. Okay, so Joanne, you just eat at noon. You go to bed about 6. You get up at 2. Woo! Go, girl. 2, and you go to the gym and you stay there for 3 hours. Woo! Hats off to you, man. You are disciplined. Goodness gracious. Let's see, Carla, you asked, have your food choices on your free day changed over time? Yeah, it has. In the beginning, cheat day was on. Like it's like, okay, all this food that I have waited all week for, and sometimes it was dumb stuff like, turkey sandwiches, these things that just seem so tempting during the week. There was like, when I had it, I was like, why did I care about this? But which is instructive too. Like once you realize, like, oh, this seemed so tempting, but in the beginning, it was like, oh man, peanut butter ramen was something. I mean, I still love my peanut butter ramen, but it was just something in the beginning. It felt like it is my all-out day. And then now it's just like no big deal. I mean, I eat a pancake breakfast. A lot of times we do donuts on Sunday morning if we don't do pancakes. But it's not like a thing anymore. Like I got to do it. I just keep it because it's like, yeah, it's super easy. So why change it? And then over time too, it's like before it used to be like I would feel like, yay, I get to have breakfast and lunch and dinner and snacks. And now it's just like, I mean, normally what'll happen now is like I'll have breakfast and I'll have supper. I mean, I'll have snacks, but it's just not a big deal. You know what I mean? So, and then the food choices, I don't know. It varies week to week. It really just depends on what I'm craving too. But it's less of the, ooh, gotta have ice cream now type thing, if that makes sense. All right. Okay. So Henrietta, you call half and half double cream. Clotted cream is heavy cream until it forms a crust and is really thick with scone. Oh, whoa. So you put it on scones. Yeah. So Devon cream tea, that's something I need to try. I want that in my life. Oh man, that sounds really good. So thank you for sharing that, Henrietta. Very cool. All right. So clotted cream. And so you guys are responsible for that. Well, thank you. Hey, Mr. BB from NYC. Okay. Mel, you said intermittent fasting helps me to not center my life around food as much. Yeah. On Weight Watchers, I felt like that's all I could think about because you're always planning meals and points. This seems more like healthy for your mental health. Yeah, that is what I found. And I know people that have had great success on Weight Watchers, and really I think it's all about what works for you. And everybody's so different as far as personality types and the things. Some people are like, they think a lot and they kind of get in their own head and they overanalyze and all that stuff. And some people love to plan out things. So, but yeah, I certainly found intermittent fasting showed me how obsessed I was with food before, like just how much I let it kind of control my mood. And, it was really too important in my life. I mean, I do still love food, but I'm in a healthier place now. Oh, Lindsay, you live in Devon too. Oh, how neat that you two live in the same area. So I don't know how big it is, but maybe it's a small world after all. Let's see, Birdie, you've been doing one meal for a few months. Love eating this way. I think my body just says, okay, food time. Yeah. I have definitely found food tastes so much better now. Like, because if you've been fasting all day, it's just, I think you enjoy it more. I enjoy food more. And I'm less picky, like as far as like vegetables and, things like that, like beans and rice. Is like, wow, I can really taste how this tastes, instead of it just being food, if that makes sense. Let's see, Tracy, I just tell myself that whatever I want in the moment can be eaten later. Yeah, learning about glucose levels and all the other benefits of fasting helps you fast easily. Yeah, I think so too. Like, it's funny, I really didn't research too much to the benefits of it, like autophagy and all that kind of thing. I just, I researched it a lot in the beginning to try to figure out how, but I didn't really understand the scientific aspect, and I'm still, most of it's way over my head. But there are some really cool things that fasting does. And certainly I just felt better doing it. So I didn't really even look at, I'm certainly not one to monitor, glucose levels and all that stuff, because that would drive me crazy. But yeah, I think it is, and it is good, to occasionally like try to find reasons, like why I'm sticking with it and stuff like that. Especially if you're hitting a plateau or something, it's good to, even though I'm at a plateau right now, this is good for my, whatever you found out about it. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm impressed by that 3 hours of exercise too. Let's see. Mel asked, did you ever rotate your open window? A few times I've started eating later and stopped later. Normally I try to keep it the same. Yes. So Mel, it was kind of trial and error in the beginning for me, trying to figure out, when does this make the most sense? I tried to work with what is the easiest time for me to not eat, so breakfast and lunch, that made sense. And so as I was working it up, it started out, I was just pushing my breakfast later. And then I said, okay, well, I can also get rid of lunch pretty easily. And then, like I was talking about earlier, it kind of seemed easier to me to say, okay, well, I feel like I've got good control in the earlier part of the day. So but I have worse control, say like around, 8 p.m. or whatever. So let me keep my window open a little later so I can have a snack and I can still be obeying the rules, and it all feels very easy. I've been really pretty consistent though, since doing OMAD, as far as keeping that at supper. Yeah, I haven't really moved that. I have not experimented with, like, say, lunch only or breakfast only, just because that's not works for my family too. I mean, we love a good family supper. We all sit down, no devices. We sit there and we talk about our day. We don't watch TV. And if I had to just sit there and not eat, that would really cramp everybody's style. So I just don't do it. Let's see. Okay, Carlene, oh, you're frustrated. you've been doing intermittent fasting for 4 months, you've lost 22 pounds, you're doing fantastic, but now nothing. You've been stuck for so long. No carbs, 2 meals, no carbs. 21.3 IF every day. Any advice? Okay, well, first of all, you're going to be fine. Okay. Plateaus are a mental game. Okay, you have got to be stubborn. You have got to say, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. Now, I didn't do the no carb thing, so I'm not going to tell you to eat carbs because I love carbs, but you don't want carbs. So, I will say this though, I have experienced plateaus. So basically what I'm saying is I'm glad to hear actually that people who do no carb still occasionally experience plateaus, because I think it's just a universal thing. Okay, the weight, and on the forums, and maybe I can link this in the description for the video. In the forums I shared a spreadsheet that shows what my weight has done every single day since 2015 when I started weighing. So February 2015 all the way up until this morning. What are my daily weights? What does my 7-day average look like? And that way you guys can see it's like this, okay? And then sometimes it's just like, oh, when is this ever gonna, and then it drops. And I wish I could say, I know that your plateau will break after X number of days of staying on plan. All I can say is you just got to be more stubborn. You got to be more stubborn than the scale and just say, I'm not giving up. So, take your time, scale, but, I'm doing this. That's what worked for me. But, yeah, Carlene, just hang in there. You're gonna, and I should have pointed out 22 pounds in 4 months, I think is fantastic. I mean, look, when I had the most weight to lose, like when I went from 205 or 207 down to 155, 157, so 50 pounds. That 50 pounds, it was 1.16 pounds a week on average, which meant there were some weeks that was better, but some weeks were worse. Some weeks, it goes up a little. So just be stubborn, keep your chin up, all that good stuff. Okay, San, I usually OMAD at dinner hour, but sometimes I have a late lunch, and that's it. Does it matter when we OMAD as long as it's 1 meal a day? Let's see, coffee twice a day with half and half, and might slow down success for me, but I love it. I love your program, Kayla. Oh, well, thank you, San. Thank you for joining us, too. Okay, so does it matter when your OMAD is? I'm pretty loosey-goosey, okay? Like I mean, generally speaking, we eat at 6:30. But if it's at 6 or if it's 5, like I don't care. I'm just like, as long as I'm eating once. It really depends on our schedule and are we traveling that day and that kind of thing. I don't think it affects anything enough to say like don't do it or do it this way. Like I'm more of the opinion like just relax and don't worry and don't stress, because stress, if you're stressed too much, then that can cause your body to, be all crazy and produce cortisol and all that stuff. So I'm all about being relaxed. Again, but being relaxed and letting it take time with the weight. Like the scale might slow down a little bit if because what some thing, I'm not saying that you do this, San, but I think what I could see is, if it's a thing where you have supper, and then you have a late lunch, well, then that next day, and if you're going to try to wait all the way till supper, it's going to be a little bit longer of a fast. So then you might find that it's a little bit harder. That's the only thing that I would say might be kind of a concern. Okay. But I love my coffee with half and half too. Hey, Nana Grace, glad you could make it today. Oh, Joanne, you guys are so sweet. Let's see, Tracy, drink half and half as well with coffee. Still losing inches, weight, etc. But maybe I'm losing slower, but I'm happy. Yeah, right. Yeah, that was the thing with me. I was in a place where I felt like I could do this forever. So if it takes a year or 2 years or 3 years, I can wait. I can do this. Like, whereas every other thing I've ever tried is like, when will I ever get this weight off so I can go back to eating the way I want to eat, which is totally the wrong thing to do because you're going to gain it back. But if you go back to eating how you used to eat, which was my, the thing that I was constantly doing. Carlene, yeah, because Carlene, let's see, 4 weeks. I mean, sorry, 4 months times 4 weeks. That's 16. So you're over a pound a week. That's what I'm saying. Let's see. What the show about everything? Didn't you do a video on that scale? I'm not sure if you're talking to me about like I did do a video about weighing every day. I also this past week did one about your 7-day average. I use a healthometer that I got at Walmart. Let's see. Mel asks, are you familiar with Heather and the Half Size Me podcast? I am not. You know, it's funny because I've got a YouTube channel all about weight loss and everything. I never, even when I was losing weight, you know, like I'm still losing very, very slowly and everything, but I didn't ever listen to any podcast just because I got to the point where I felt like information overwhelmed. Like I need to just focus on, you know, my plan and just do it and try to not have these things saying, oh, well, you should try keto and you should try paleo and all that. So I kind of on purpose limited, you know, that. But I'm curious to know, who is she and what is the podcast about? It sounds interesting. Half Size Me. I'm assuming it's like weight loss success stories, which I think are very motivating. And that is something I did do, is seek out, you know, the same kind of, like people who had success kind of starting where I was and kind of same age, same kind of background type thing. Like they've had kids and all that. And seeking out those success stories was really helpful. Let's see. San, at 4 months, if I've lost 22 pounds, I will do a cartwheel. Yes, exactly. Yeah, but I understand. It is tough though when you're going along. It's like everything's great. It's like, oh, why did it stop working? It's still gonna work, I think. That's been my experience. I mean, I keep thinking one of these days this plan's gonna just completely stall out, but it hasn't. Okay. Went on a plateau. Tracy, you say, went on a plateau, just think of how frustrated you would be if you just gave up. Also, fasting is a healthy way to live, so stick with it. Yeah. That was a thing a lot of times I had to ask myself, like, okay, if I quit right now, I'm going to go back, to being 222 pounds. So I guess, I'm okay with being stuck for now. Being stuck is better than the weight going up, and then, the weight going down is slightly better than the weight being stuck. I get that, but yeah, it's a mind game. You got to just win it. Okay, Carlene, you're going to be more stubborn. Good. Give it another round. Oh, thank you, Carlene. Let's see. Henrietta, I think Carlene should do greens and a few berries, not starchy carbs. I do keto, do limited carbs, find the weight goes off steady with that. At 1 stack and 1 meal, and finish. Yeah. I mean, Henrietta, I think that's great if that's a plan that people can stick with. I just can't. I can't do that plan. I like carbs, and I'm going to have carbs, and I understand that it will probably be a bumpier ride, as far as like, it. Although, didn't somebody now I can't remember, Carlene, if you said that you were low carb or no carb, but but I get it. A lot of people do say keto, but then I've seen people that are on keto that are stalling out too. So that's just I think better to it always helped me to just say, what can I stick with? I never made a change that I felt like I could not stick with over the long term, which is why I just kept my plan the same and waited out the plateaus. But that said, are you doing any weight training, and do you exercise in a fasted state? Okay, so I don't weight train anymore at this point. I'm a full-time RVer now. Before, I just didn't have a gym membership, and so it's just kind of I've thought about maybe like doing push-ups and stuff, or I don't know. It's not something to do right now. But yes, when I walk, I am usually in a fasted state. Most of the time, at least for the past several months now, I've been getting my steps in the morning, so I've been fasting at that point for probably at least 12 hours. And generally my steps are in a more fasted state than a fed state. It's all kind of at what point are you fasted, and at what point are you, fed, and at what point do you go from being in a fed state to a fasted state? It's all kind of a spectrum. That's at least my kind of understanding of it. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. Yes, it was your video this week. I think we're talking about the scale. about the 7-day average. Yeah. Now I can't. Sorry, what the show about everything. I can't remember. I think you said something about the scale that I was using. Anyway, if you got a question, just let me know. Sorry. Edwige, hi from France. Oh, hi. You're let's see, after being 1 pound away from Wonderland, I had my cheat day and put on 4. Haha. You already lost 2, though. Yeah, I love this lifestyle. Now I'll learn to be moderate on cheat day. Well, Edwige, I tell you, my weight, I don't know if I don't think every woman experiences this, but like I can eat Mexican food one night and the weight goes up by 3 or 4 pounds overnight. And we all know that's not real weight. It will come off. It's just water weight, because I can tell, I eat the food and I'm like, oh, I'm so thirsty, so I'm drinking the water and then it eventually goes away. It takes a few days usually to come off, but don't despair. You're going to be fine. You're close. You'll get there. I know how that is. But, as far as cheat day was always my free day. I didn't ever try to be good on cheat day. What I found about trying to be good on cheat day was then I felt like I could cheat through the week. I just had that. Not that I did that often, but I started to notice that, like, because I was wanting to try to speed up results. Everybody gets in a hurry, or I do. So I would sit there and think, but this cheat day, if I'll just be good, then my weight loss will quicken. Well, then of course, what would happen? I'd be good on cheat day, and the next day, maybe I wouldn't have lost anyway. And I'd think, it didn't work. And so then I would think, well, since I was good on cheat day, then maybe I could have this bite of something or whatever. And then when I started to notice that pattern of thinking, I said, no, I'm going to do cheat day right. I'm going to not withhold. But that was just for me. Oh, Carlene, you have lots of friends here, so that's good. Let's see. Okay, so the half, I think it was called Half Size Me, Success Stories and Advocates Doing What Works. Yeah. So the guest talks about when they started having weight issues. Oh, and she's a homeschool mom. Well, I have to check that out. That's great. Yeah, I think listening to success stories so key. Protecting yourself, like protecting like your mindset. That was something I had to learn in those early days, because your brain has a tendency to seek out information that confirms what it believes, right? So in the beginning, I was kind of seeking information to show me, like, well, it's really hard to lose, the weight, and so probably you just won't lose the weight after 3 kids and all this stuff. And so I would find myself following these blogs of women who either, lost the weight and regained it, or were just struggling, not having success. And then when I realized that's what I was feeding my brain, I thought, well, I'm not going to do very well with my weight loss if I continue to listen to that. So I stopped reading those blogs. I tried to focus on finding success stories. Like Lean Gains was one that I loved because it was specifically intermittent fasting success stories, which, watch the language on that site, it's pretty rough. But let's see. San, I have to say, I did pop around for a while seeking out OMAD success in other places, but no more. Aw, just me? Aw, you guys are so sweet. Hey Adele, love your videos. Hi from South Africa. Oh, that's awesome. Do I eat 23-1 or 19-5 OMAD? I eat OMAD. So, what that works out to be on, I would say most days, is like 23.5-hour fast, a half hour to eat supper. I don't set a clock. I don't watch the clock. It's just like around 6:30, we sit down, we eat, we talk about our day, we laugh and everything. And then when we're all done eating, I stand up and I start fasting again. So, I'm not like, okay, kids, it's been 30 minutes, so I got to stop eating. I just eat, we don't sit there for an exceptionally long period of time, though. So I would guesstimate most days is a 23.5-hour fast, 30 minutes of eating. But basically just say OMAD for the sake of clarity. Tracy, I was a homeschool mom. Now my daughter is in her last year at nursing school. Aw, and your son is a college freshman aviation student. So, man, you raised him right. That is awesome. I'd love to hear homeschool parents who have raised these kids and they're going to do awesome things in life. That is great. Christina, weighing every day is the best advice, and on this journey, weight does fluctuate so much. Yes, oh, amen. Averaging out each week is much more accurate. Yeah, I think that really saved me in the beginning of, just seeing it inch down ever so slowly, like because like I was talking about, my weight just like would jump up by 3 pounds and then it's down and then it's up and then it's down and it's up. But when I had that average going, it's like, oh, okay, it's coming down, and then it kind of kept me on an even keel, and it kept me from celebrating too early too. Let's see. You're vegan, so my carbs are very high. I've lost 20 pounds. Awesome. Eating OMAD. I'm also walking 6 or 7 miles a day. It's working like a dream. That's awesome. 93. Yeah. So vegan. See, that's what's always so interesting to me. So many people eat so many different ways. Here we have a vegan who's lost weight, and we have somebody who's eating keto or no carb and lost weight. I think, and then I'm eating everything. So it can be really interesting, I think, to see, like, and that's why I try to remember to not ever be dogmatic with any of this. I try to tell you, like, here's my experience, but I think it can work a lot of different ways. I met somebody, it's probably been a year ago now, but she had lost like 100 pounds, and she ate 6 small meals a day. I mean, like, complete opposite from me. But the point is, she was able to stick to that plan. I would not be able to. I would eat 6 or 7 large meals a day. Mel, yeah, I'm a full-time RVer for about 4 months now. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, one meal can totally put the pounds on. And again, that's why I love the 7-day average so much. The running 7-day average. Every day I know my 7-day average. So I don't only just do it week to week either. I'm doing it so every day I have a new 7-day average. And keeping track of that, man, it just keeps me sane, I'm telling you. Okay, so what are my thoughts on the new study about low-carb diets shortening lifespan? So funny that you asked that, because someone sent me a link to an article, Evie. I don't know that she's on here, but I thought it was very interesting. It was from Columbia University, I believe, and it was about just some tools, and tips, like according to research. And one of the things was, high carb or higher carb isn't necessarily bad, or, low carb isn't necessarily the only healthy way to eat. And it mentioned lifespans were slightly better, I think, when you were higher carb. Again, the thing about studies is you can pretty much find one to back up your opinion. That's what I've found. I mean, it makes your head spin. So I try to take it all kind of with a grain of salt. Think it's kind of interesting, but I think it's better to just say, how can I eat, maintain a healthy weight? That's kind of where I'm at. It's like I'm trying to do the best I can, but I can't do the low carb thing and feel very good. So another thing that it was talking about, I believe in that same article, was weighing every day was super important to keep the weight off. Cox Family Travels. Thank you, San. My husband's probably over there like, why didn't you say the name of the channel? Cox Family Travels. We also have a coffee channel called Coffee, where we do coffee reviews. Let's see, Henrietta, find limiting carbs helps because your body runs on fat instead of carbs and sugar, makes your brain clear, and energy levels are amazing. Coming off sugar is like coming off heroin. I'm sure, like, if that's how you feel, like, I think that's great. Like, if you feel better when you're low carb, I say do it. Just not how I feel when I'm low carb. San, I wouldn't be able to eat for a whole hour the way you wolfed up food. Yeah, I'm telling you, I can put away food with the best of them, but yeah, although that is something I have become better about, just because I'm more relaxed around food, I do find I can sit there and take my time with it more and just have it be kind of low key, and I find that I can stop before I get miserable. It's like, oh yeah, I'm starting to feel full now, and it's just nice to be more relaxed about it. Okay. Sasha, hi, I'm a new subscriber from Jamaica. Thanks for the good content. Well, thank you, Sasha, for joining us, and thanks for subscribing. Lisa, hi from California, new to intermittent fasting. Love hearing your journey. Oh, well, thank you. I'm so glad that people can get something out of it. It makes me happy. Hope, yes. Well, yeah, I remember being there, thinking, I'm just not gonna be able to do it. I struggled my whole life with weight. So this wasn't just like I put on some pounds when I got pregnant with my third. It was like it's been a lifelong thing. So there is hope. Is that a Fitbit I'm wearing? Yes, Joanne, it is. It is a Fitbit Alta. I also have a video about a video review of my Fitbit Alta, and overall, I love it. I love Fitbits. I love the community. Be my friend on Fitbit. It's in the description here. I've got a lot of friends on here, and I'm sorry to anyone out there who's asking me to be in a challenge. I can only be in 10 at a time, and Fitbit says you can't join that one because you're already in 10. So. Let's see, exactly, it was a garbage study. Yeah, love your part background. Yeah, so that said, and thanks, the Mississippi's right over there. You really can't see it, but there is a beautiful overlook, but there were people there, so I didn't want to do I'm an introvert, so I just had to find my little picnic table, and there was a group of kids that walked by that kind of made me nervous, but, okay, yeah, let's see. Okay, so everyone get on Kayla's forum and, oh yeah, you guys, share your experiences on the forum, 6milestosupper.com/community. It's great. People are sharing over there. It's a good way to be able to, discuss things, in a forum setting, which can be a little bit easier than YouTube comments. YouTube comments are really hard to keep up with. So I do try to always answer YouTube comments. I'm sure some fall through the cracks, and I'm apologizing right now if it happens to you, but okay, so and I try to be really active on the forums. This past month I've been visiting family, and we just visited one of my husband's Marine Corps buddies, and so this past month has been a crazy month, but hopefully I can be even more active over there now. Okay, Deborah, thanks for being my Fitbit pal. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being mine. I'm ahead. Oh, you're ahead of me today. Well, all right. Well, right now I've got 17,000 and something. So and I've got to walk a pretty long way back to my car. So I'll have to come after. Okay, LJ, are you saying you should weigh every day? It helps me stay accountable. Yes, in my opinion, what has worked for me is to weigh every single day and to kind of almost ignore the single day weight, but pay attention to my 7-day average, which is just the past 7 days of weight. I add them up and divide by 7. So every day I have a new, 7-day average, and I have a spreadsheet that calculates it for me automatically. That has really kept me accountable, while I'm losing weight. It helps me stay encouraged when I'm hitting a plateau, because a lot of times the plateau isn't like a true plateau. It's moving, but it's just so slow that otherwise, if I wasn't keeping track of my 7-day average, I would think that I was in a plateau. But the other thing that I like about weighing every day is when you're in maintenance mode, it keeps you accountable. It keeps you from getting too far out in left field. That's what I've found. So yes. 6milestosupper.com. I probably said it wrong, didn't I? Sorry. Let's see. It takes me about an hour to eat my one meal because 3,000 calories, 23.1 for me. That's awesome. I don't count calories, so I have no idea how many I'm eating. I ate a lot of Taco John's food the other day, and it was amazing. But we haven't been to Taco John's in so long, and we found one in Tennessee. Now I can't even remember where we were. Let's see. Hi, just got on. You might get a Fitbit for your birthday. Ooh, well, I think you'll love it. So many people I've talked to, they're occasionally, if you don't use it, you're going to say, well, it didn't work. Or if you, I think the thing is, a lot of times people will wear a Fitbit and then not really do anything with their eating. And it's just, you can't outrun your fork. I found that to be true. So, Trudy, if you get one, I hope you'll be my friend on Fitbit. Mel, do you live do you do lives on your RV channel? We are going to start doing lives on our RV channel. I think this week. We're going to do talk about what we've been doing the past week, where we've traveled to, things we've learned, things like that. We've done some campground reviews, but we're going to try to do more of lives and stuff now. Nicole, hi, you inspired me to keep trying, and your encouragement to mix it up until you find what works for you. It's been key. Oh, good, Nicole. I'm glad that it's working for you. I really want people to always figure out, what works for you. Figure it out. Customize your plan specifically to you. and then you can really take ownership of it, I think, because that's been key for me to be like, I don't care what anybody else says about half and half in your coffee, I'm having that half and half in my coffee. So yeah, let's see, diet studies are funded by the food company, so be wary. Yeah, you've tried it all and OMAD works. Exactly. Like, there's always money involved in, gosh, I think everything, right? And I don't know that it's all nefarious, but really, you can Google, why is a vegan diet bad, and get plenty of really, really high quality studies that have been done to prove that. And then you say, why is it the most optimal diet? And you can get plenty of evidence. So I feel like it's mostly about, like, what do you feel best on? How do you feel best? What are you, eating, or what, paying attention to what you're eating, and how you're feeling. Let's see. Yeah, Carlene, you ask, I know you drink a lot of coffee, but do you drink a lot of water also? I drink to thirst. So it just depends. Like, I do not sit there with a water bottle and like try to gorge myself with water, just because I don't like the way I feel when I do that. I feel like we have an instinct, right? Thirst, and so that tells us to drink. So that's what I do. If I start to notice that, I'm feeling lightheaded or anything like that, especially because in the Florida heat, especially when I was getting my steps in the Florida heat, I had to be a bit more cautious of, like, okay, make sure to get enough because you are sweating and stuff. But I like that. LaCroix, unsweetened tea. I wouldn't say that I drink a lot, I just drink to thirst. What would you eat for your one meal? Like protein to carb, fats? Henrietta, I just eat whatever I want. So it just depends. It's never a set amount of anything. I try to keep some fat in there, and I try to keep some protein in there, just because I've found, like, if it's only carbs, I'm going to be hungry the next day. Probably feel a little nauseous too. Like, if I just had, let's say, a stack of pancakes and just syrup on them, not going to feel good the next day. I've done that, and it's like, whew, man, I felt full, but I did not feel good afterwards. But if I say, like, I'm going to have eggs with that and some turkey bacon and butter, then yeah, I feel better. So that's like one example, but I don't do any ratios. Okay, so one meal, it might be pretty high carb, and another meal might be pretty high protein, another meal might be pretty high everything. I just, go on what we've got around and eat that. Let's see, Lisa, I do walking videos from Leslie I'm going to butcher her name, Sansone. I hope this counts for walking. Lisa, I think everything counts as, like your steps. Like, oh, one thing, and I just remembered this the other day, like, for a while there, I would do, when I had a step goal, I would do, was not Dance Dance Revolution, the little salsa thingy, not salsa, man, Zumba, that's it, Zumba. Like, I had a Wii Zumba game thingy, and I would do that, and that would get me, I don't know, like 6,000 steps. It was higher pace, or like harder to do, like more challenging, I think, than just regular walking. I count everything. Like, I just strap my Fitbit on and I count it, whatever that thing is. But that's been a long time ago since I was doing that. So that was like in 2015, maybe the beginning of 2016. Deborah, my friend Barb is here with me watching you. Oh, hi Barb. She is stepping and doing OMAD with me. She lost, Barb lost so much she had to buy a new Fitbit band. Oh, congratulations, Barb. That is awesome. Your Fitbit band was falling off. That's fantastic. That happened to me too. Like with when I first got a Fitbit, I needed the large band, and now and now I'm down to a small band, and it's actually, I'm gonna have to tighten it a little bit, but it's nice. It's nice. That is awesome. Congratulations. Let's see. M just friended you on Fitbit. It will help to get those 6 miles. Well, I hope so. Yeah, I find it really motivating. It's neat to be able to kind of have that community there. There's also a little feed. I sometimes post in there. I'm not the best at posting all the time, though. Catherine, do you walk 6 miles at once, or do you break it up in the day? I break it up sometimes. Sometimes, like lately, it's been all 6 miles all at once, generally speaking, because it was so hot in Florida. It was so hot. And it was like, we better get, like, we had to wake up at 5 and try to be done really early in the morning, or it was just so incredibly hot. Like, the feels like was 90 and it was 5 o'clock in the morning down in Sarasota. So, but I always said it counts. So like in the very beginning, it was like this for me. For whatever reason, I could just not get going some days. Like, I would wake up and I would just think, well, I'll get my steps in eventually, and it would be 9, 10 o'clock at night. It's like, oh wow, I've got to walk straight for the next 2 hours in order to get my steps in. And I would do it. I was very disciplined about getting my steps in. But you know, it was all about like how it fit in my day. And it took me a while to really realize I had plenty of time. It was just I was not being not being good about saying I can get up and get some in. So it doesn't matter to me. Break them up into 15-minute or even less. I would just do it however I could. Hi everybody, Kayla. Evie, you're asking, can I have cheat weekends? You can do whatever you want to do, Evie. I think. I think that's a very interesting idea. I've never done more than one cheat day a week. I didn't feel like I needed it, but I do have, you know, rules in place for going off plan. Like, I have these rules that I just say, okay, like, you know, I've talked about it before, like if we're gonna have a family lunch and it's gonna be you know, right in the middle of the day and all that, I will go off plan for that day, or not for that day, but I'll say, okay, I'm gonna eat lunch and then I'll eat my one meal. Or, you know, go on vacation and I won't be on plan, you know, that kind of thing. So I think some people do it probably differently. Probably some people say, well, I'm never going to go, you know, off plan for those things. I'm always going to be on plan. But instead it just worked for me to say occasionally, I mean, I'm always intentional about it whenever I decide to go off plan. But look, I say, you know, I would try it as an experiment and see, you know, what's your results? That's what I'm always like, yeah, go ahead and do that. And you tell me how it goes for you. Like, so Evie, why don't you be our guinea pig and you have a cheat, you know, consistent cheat weekends, and you tell me what your results are. Okay, San, love your live talks. Oh, I'm so glad. Like, I wondered, you know, do people, it seems like people like these. So, you always pick up something new, like the 7-day average. You start an average new every day. That's interesting. So yeah, so it's a running average. So like the way Fitbit does it, if you've got a Fitbit, I can't remember if you do or not. What it looks like is on Fitbit, it just takes each week, like it starts on Sunday. So, and it will show you like one number. That's your 7-day average for that week. Okay, so like say from August 1st to August 7th, it'll take those 7 days. It'll add it up and show you that one number. And then it'll say, okay, from August 8th to the 15th. I think I'm doing this right. Or the 14th, whatever. It'll be another average. So, but what I'm saying is I'm doing it every single day. So the spreadsheet calculates just the previous 7 days. So you're constantly getting that 7-day average. So it's just more data. I like data. Okay, and I'm going to do a video just on the 7-day average spreadsheet because I want people to be able to see like how to do it, because I think sometimes it's a little confusing. I probably didn't set it up the best. So OMAD, let's see, Deborah, you say OMAD is freedom from being obsessed with eating. Lost 42 pounds, but now your underwear keeps falling down. That's great. Oh man, 42 pounds down. Congratulations. That is awesome. That is awesome. That's a good place to be. Go get yourself some more underwear though. Let's see, that said, my Fitbit calculates my calories burned at 3,500 calories a day. So eating 3,000 keeps me in a deficit. I eat 3 hours before bed so my body can rebuild after fasted weight training earlier in the day. That's great. I always got so frustrated with the Fitbit and the calorie count because I would do that. Like I had an accurate weight in there and I would strap the thing to my wrist first thing in the morning. And it would say, okay, you've burned this many calories. So I used that and I tried to be in a deficit. And I don't know if my problem was that I just didn't give it enough time, or if I was just like, if it was just inaccurate for me or what, but it was so frustrating because I would think that I'd be at a certain deficit, 500-700 calories and still not losing like I thought I would. So yeah, but I'm glad that it works for you, and that's the thing that matters. If it works for you, awesome. Let's see. Yeah, Deborah, everybody's wanting to know how long that took. know this sounds stupid, but how does Fitbit track your steps? It's magic. And no, I think there's like a little something, like a little motion sensor in here. And then it just knows like when you're walking. It kind of picks up on that bouncy thing. It will, just so you know, like you can fool it. Okay, so like my husband, when he's driving the RV and he's doing this, it will count his steps. Like he'll look down. It's like, oh, it looks like I walked about 6 miles. He didn't. But I would say overall, I found it to be very accurate, just as accurate as a pedometer with your phone. If you use your phone as a pedometer, I found them to be very accurate. Oh, but like it won't count if you're like pushing a cart in Walmart. I found that out too, because that was really frustrating in the beginning when I was, it felt like a lot of effort to get my steps in. I would go to Walmart and be pushed around that cart, and then I'd be at the end of checking out and think, oh man, I didn't get any steps in. That's got to be wrong. So let's see. Seema, do you find if you eat a lot of carbs in your one meal, does it stall you? Again, I would say I eat a lot of carbs a lot of the time, so I'm probably higher carb than anything else. Carbs are cheap. So with a family of 5 on a budget, it's just, how it is. Like we ate, like last night, spaghetti, with jarred spaghetti sauce, and that was really high carb. Actually, I didn't have any protein last night, now that I think about it. Well, the Parmesan cheese on top, but I've not noticed that eating one way stalls me, because I really don't eat one certain way enough to be like, oh, that stalled me out, because I just eat whatever I want. So and I try not to pay too much attention to that, because ultimately for me what's important is, can I stick with this over the long term? And this is what I can stick with over the long term. I can do OMAD, I can eat whatever I want. So I'm not going to change my eating to try to get quicker results and then try to figure out maintenance by going back and adding in foods. I would just rather always eat all the foods and then figure out how I can lose weight doing that. So, which is what I did. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. Henrietta, can't exercise due to a tear in my knee, still losing weight, might not be as fit, but hey, yeah, that's awesome, Henrietta. Yeah, I think that is so important, the eating side of the equation. I think so. Okay, let's see. All right. Oh, good. You love the live talks, Mel. Awesome. Okay, AW, you asked, how long did it take for you to lose the 65 pounds? Okay, so 2015, I lost about 15. I kind of lost 20, but then I started gaining back. So I think I started 2016 at about 207, 205. By the end, November of 2016, so in January 2016, that was when I said, okay, intermittent fasting 6 days a week, cheat day on Sunday, 6 miles of walking every single day. When I did that, so from January 2016 to November of 2016, that's when I lost about 50 pounds. And then I've lost an additional, 12 to 15 since starting this channel. So I wish I could say it was, it took me this long. If I had been doing that plan, I don't know how long it would have took me if I had realized that in 2015 that all I needed to do was just intermittent fasting and walking. But I didn't know that. I was just doing, just not being consistent. That was mainly my problem in 2015. Yeah, Christina, the beauty of OMAD is not having to count, measure, omit food. I agree. It drives me crazy. So I'm just the type of person, though, that will just overanalyze everything. So I think that's one reason why it helps me. It works well with my personality. Okay, Deborah, I started stepping in March and OMAD in June. I was really stalled at 200 pounds, but now it's really coming off. Awesome. I'm telling you, that 200-pound mark, ooh, it was so tough. And I mean, at that time, I just didn't know, that's around the time I had my back injury with deadlifting and all that stuff, and I got so stalled for so long, and it was so frustrating, but I'm so glad I stuck with it. So congratulations, Deborah, that's awesome. Okay, Victoria, eating one meal a day is about the only weight loss technique that I haven't tried. I guess I'm going to have to give it a go. Yeah, I've been there, Victoria. It was like I've tried every other thing, and I just couldn't stick with stuff over the long term. I always ended up going back to eating cake and popcorn and bread, you know, all the things. So it's what's worked for me. Thank you, Joanne. Have a wonderful evening too. Let's see. That said, have you calculated your lean mass gains? Example, my lean mass gain was 40 pounds. Body fat was 54. Net loss of 14 pounds. Let's see. No, I haven't ever calculated that. Like, so let's see. I think you're saying probably that you. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying now. Sorry, I didn't. I think I misread something. So, okay. So you're saying in the process you gained muscle and you lost fat. So really the scale looked like you only lost 14, right? But so no, I haven't done that. I can look at my body and be like, yeah, I've compared to what I would say that I've probably gained muscle because now I'm active. Before I was sedentary, and now I'm walking, you know, consistently. And definitely lost fat. So yeah, but I don't know the actual numbers on that because I just didn't have a thing that would measure that. Henrietta, I can't believe you were ever overweight. Oh, you're saying, well, thank you, Henrietta. You're so sweet. No, but I was quite overweight. AW, you said you deadlift. How many times a week do you deadlift? I used to deadlift, to be clear. In 2015, I was going to the gym every day. I was really into powerlifting out there. Didn't have a coach, was probably a mistake because I was doing a deadlift one day and something snapped. I don't know what happened. I didn't go to the doctor, but like I was seeing stars. Like when I looked up, and I was hurting. I took a leave and stuff, and it eventually got better. But I just had to rest a lot, and I couldn't. After that, I tried to go back to it, but I was so nervous about hurting myself again or hurting myself worse. And it took a long time to get over that injury. Just like sitting would hurt and stuff. So that's really why I had to figure out, like, okay, what can I do that's not deadlifting? Because I love to lift heavy weights. Oh man, like one of these days, would I ever consider getting back into that with a coach? Yeah, maybe, if I had a totally different life. Because right now it just wouldn't work with my lifestyle. But I really did enjoy weightlifting though a lot. Deborah says if she can do it, anybody can. That's right. She had a heart attack. She has diabetes, OMAD, and moving has saved her life. Thank you, Deborah, for sharing that. That is a good testimony right there. Evie, guinea pigs have it good. Yeah, your problem is really unpredictable hunger. 3 miles a day, eating a balanced OMAD every day, plus 100 calories of something around noon, and a can of V8. Why hunger only on some days? That's a great question. I have found for me, I think a lot of it has to do with hormones. I certainly notice more hunger around period time. Yes, in a big way. It can be pretty like, whoa, why am I so hungry right now? But then also, I feel more hunger when I'm stressed or if I'm bored or, I'm not bored very often, but if I am, stressed, bored, tired, that's another thing. Like if I didn't get enough sleep the night before. And then, then there's so many other factors too, right? Like there's the weather and, are you getting over a cold or, did you walk in more elevation or, it's just, there's so many different factors that for me, it was just about staying consistent and saying, well, I'm just not going to eat right now. Those are just my, observations. Okay, Christina, I've read to get an idea of actual fat loss is to measure your middle, hips and stomach and keep track of it. Yeah, and I have those numbers somewhere. I can't remember now. It was pretty substantial. I think my waist, I'm going to say a number and then it'll probably be wrong. 44 inch waist, I think. Now it's like 30-ish. I don't know. Something like that. Depends though. The thing about the measuring is like I can cheat that so easy, like suck in. You can really suck it in and have different measurements. But that was me. The other week somebody asked me specifically like, well, how big are you around your waist? And I'm pretty sure that was the measurement. But I tried to just be relaxed. I tried not to suck it in. But Okay, let's see, Victoria, do you drink wine with OMAD? I do. I've never told myself you can't have wine. Now, here are some observations about wine. First of all, if you're fasting and you have wine and nothing else, that wine will hit you like a freight train, or at least it does me. Like I'm not one to be able to hold my. I don't have a very high alcohol tolerance. Okay, so like a small glass of wine and I'm done. Usually, but the thing is, like, it makes me hungrier because I've done it. I've not been scientific with this. Okay, so this is all just kind of like my observations. If I have it with my meal, then it's not bad. It doesn't affect my hunger levels the next day. However, if I have supper and then later on my husband's like, hey, you want to have a glass of wine? I'm gonna say yes, but the next day I probably will feel hunger and maybe even some nausea. So I try, if I'm gonna have wine, I try to have it with my meal. I actually had a glass of wine yesterday with my meal, and I was trying to think today if I felt hungry. I've been busy today, so I really didn't have time to be hungry. Yeah, I didn't really. Maybe early in the morning I kind of felt kind of hungry. Nothing too unbearable, obviously. How much did I lift? Oh, Mr. BB, you would ask that. I cannot remember now. Isn't that horrible? Because I was really proud of myself. I'm sure people would laugh at whatever my deadlift was. I have it in a spreadsheet somewhere. Jay, if you're still listening, you can find my my deadlifts. Like, search in my Google Drive for deadlift. But I enjoyed it. Basically, let's say that I really enjoyed deadlifting. It was my favorite lift too. Oh man, I hate that I messed up. Okay. Crafty Crafter says, my PA told me being tired does, in fact, make you eat more. Yeah. Oh, and you've walked almost 8 miles today. That's awesome, Crafty Crafter. Yeah, that's certainly true, I think. When you're tired, it's like you just can't figure out that you're full. Or that was my experience. Like, I'm so hungry. I'm still eating. Why am I not getting full right now? Deborah, if you're overweight or diabetic, check out Jason Fung's video on intermittent fasting and OMAD. He is a spectacular resource. Love that man. I want to say that he was the reason why I realized it was okay for women to do longer fasts than, like, because everything I had seen before that was like 14-hour. Don't do longer than a 14-hour fast. I'm pretty sure he was the first one who was like, you're gonna be fine. So I mean, he didn't tell me that. Like, it was just something I read that he had written. So Henrietta, you asked, how many coffees do you drink in a day? Usually about 3. That's not something I'm like really super strict on myself on. It's just generally that's how it ends up happening. If it's more than that, that's okay. If it's less than that, that's okay. Most of the time 3 though. Wow, you walked 12.5 miles yesterday, Crafty Crafter. Don't know what got into you. Well, what did get into you? That's pretty crazy. That's a long way to walk. Okay, Evie says, Kayla and Crafty, thanks for the thought about being tired causing the increased eating. Hadn't thought of that, but it fits. Yeah, yeah, certainly. Hunger is such a funny thing too. It's like, you can feel really hungry, and it's just you're not really hungry. No, I mean, you feel it, but sometimes you're just really not. So it can be a deceptive little feeling, but. Anyway, well, we've been live for over an hour now, so probably time to let you guys go. But thanks for joining me. Be sure to head on over to the forums if you want to get in on the conversation over there. Hey, Crafty, you're going to walk a half marathon? Go for it, I say. There we go. PR of 2:30 on my deadlift. Thank you, Jay. And then shortly after that, I hurt myself. So, thanks for watching. I will see you guys next week, live Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Oh, thanks, AW. I am just thrilled and shocked at the amount of subscribers that I have. So thank you. Yes, Deborah, you reward yourself. You have done some good work. So, bye, Evie. Thank you for joining us. And And if you guys have any topics you want me to cover in videos, always let me know. Always let me know what kind of content you're wanting to see, and I'm happy to oblige. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Bye, Dory.